from Keighley tonight. It's a bit of a unique, not a unique situation, but it's a bit of an unusual situation. We're in Thursday night, half-time, and it's very one-sided. We're used to these matches being a lot closer than this in this division, aren't we?
They usually are, you know, and that's where you've got to give credit to the Featherstone side tonight. They've come out here and they've worked really hard. You know, they've got themselves in a good position at half-time. Keighley need to fight and get back into the arm wrestle and put up a big show for the second half.
Here's Law with the drive forward, but having made about 10 metres, he's pushed back a couple of strides, so Featherstone's defence looking to get on top in these early stages of the second half as well, if they can. 3 men in the tackle, quickly becomes 2 as the Featherstone defenders retreat the 10, and Keighley trying to go through the middle again here from just about 10 metres inside their own half. Paul March is the man at dummy half who stands and waits, and here comes the kick, the high kick, which disappears in front of the many people who are standing up in front of us just at the moment, but down it comes, and when everyone sits down, it turns out Featherstone have got the ball back again.
Well, he spilt that ball too, Dave. He dropped that ball back just to give you a tip there. Yeah.
Do they do prawn sandwiches in Featherstone, by the way? Because the prawn sandwich brigade's just come back in their seats here.
There's another penalty from the Keighley side, and I'm sure, you know, they would have spoke about that. And as a coach, you speak about things at half-time, and you go out and first set of 6, you're giving away that penalty that you've just spoke about, not given away, and it becomes very frustrating. But we look at the Featherstone side. Tommy Saxon, a bit of a leg injury now as well, just jogging back into position. So I want to make sure that he gets through unscathed.
Well, the physio's still taking a good look at him. He's is he coming off here? No, he's not. He's just going to try and run it off on this left-hand side. Meantime, Featherstone looking through Ellis to try and get things going out. It's a soft, short pass, and I think the ref got a shout that it was a high one from his touch judge on this near side, so the penalty goes Featherstone's way.
Well, it's just a bit of a grapple, isn't it, from Rawlings there?
Yeah, probably looked worse than what it was, Dave, didn't it?
Yeah, a bit of a grapple, but again, you know, like that's 2 penalties back-to-back. Straight away now they're defending 15 metres out from their line, and you just can't afford to do it. You know, no matter who you play, you can't, let alone Featherstone.
The referee wants to see it again, this particular tap, before he's willing to let it go. So Helliwell does just that, and Featherstone setting up camp 10 metres away from this Keighley line again. Ellis at dummy half, scooping it out, and the hard runs coming in once more, and Keighley's mettle is being tested to the absolute limit, as it has been on many times so far tonight. This is Finn with the short flat pass, and Lockwood is in, he's over, he's forced his way through, and looked a little flimsy defence on that occasion. And less than 3 minutes of the second half played, and they're already up to 30 points to 0.
Well, they didn't do anything flash there, did they? You know, they got a penalty, kick for touch, penalty, kick for touch. Just a wide ball from the hooker Ellis there. Picked up Finn, and he just had numbers. He had plenty of players to pick out. He could have thrown it to any number of them, and he's picked out Lockwood. Again, it's just some poor, soft shoulder contact there, and he's just gone straight through to score the try. Is it that looks like he's run over a little Leatherburrow there? Big man on little man, but just had plenty of numbers that he could have chose from there. He could have played the short ball, could have played out the back, and you know, nothing flash about that try. Just very, very well worked.
Well, Hendo, how many times have you, as a player, been in a situation when you're on the back of what he's turning into, just the hint of a hiding here? How many times have you been in that position, and what goes through players' minds now?
I've been in that position, and it is hard, and you know, you tend to find everybody's trying to say the right things behind the sticks, and you're trying to get each other up, but you know, again, it is tough. You know, when there's no way forward, as we just see Liam Finn come in to try and add the extras. Oh, off the post.
Is he a goal kicker, this fella? Hey, look, I'm with Hendo there. You know, the thing is, when you get in this position, sometimes, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, everyone's trying individually themselves to try and fix the problem, and it just creates more problems. And no matter what you do, you can't get yourself out of it. And, you know, and that could be the case tonight.
And the added disadvantage for Keighley is that Featherstone have been, by their standards, a little under par in second halves of games, and that would have been talked about, wouldn't it, in the build-up to this game? And the absolute determination in the dressing rooms at half-time would have been, make sure you carry on playing well in the second half as
Absolutely.
well.
And you know, one thing that I remember when Glenn Barraclough was speaking before the game, he highlighted discipline as an area that they really wanted to focus on and improve on going into this game this week. And I don't think they've really delivered on that aspect so far, Keighley, which will be a little bit disappointing to them. But you know, at the end of the day, like you say, you know, they've got to try and just get back to some sort of, you know, rhythm and get back to a performance and not try and solve it on each other's own, you know what I mean, and create more problems, as Woodsy said before, because that's what tends to happen. You go away from what you've set out to do, and like you say, it ends up going wrong for you.
Finn's kick is very intelligent because he's put it into space. It's a light offside.
Penalty.
Well, that was a stroke of luck, wasn't it? Because it bounced into the hands of Helliwell.
Well, he had plenty of time to kick that ball, Finn. If you have a look at him, look, he gets the ball, he carries it and carries it and carries it, and no one went near him, and he's put the kick up. Yeah, he is offside just.
I don't think Helliwell was offside. I think it was the players inside him that were
inside him. Yeah, they come into the 10.
Just for those who aren't aware of the rule, if you're offside when the kick is kicked, when it comes down, the next play, if you're within 10 metres of the man who catches the ball, then you are offside. And it's a straight. We've seen some very strange rulings off of tries over the years, haven't we, through that rule? And I think that was spot on. Here comes March again from dummy half. So Keighley given a bit of a let-off. If they had conceded there, how much of the win would have that knocked from their sails? As it is, they have a chance to bring it back inside their opponent's half. And here's Leatherborough trying to help it on for Cosgrove, who's going to be put down just over 10 metres away. March in at dummy half. Leatherborough to his left. Here he comes. Just shows it a couple of times, and then with a short pass to Scott Law, who's done well to get that ball away. Oh, and has this been knocked down by a Featherstone man? Well, the referee will tell us in just a moment.
Yes.
Yes, it has. Head and feet for Keighley.
And that's the first probably time we've seen Keighley get an offload and a little bit of tempo off the back of it. I think they have had a couple of offloads in the game, but the Featherstone defenders have pretty much pounced on that player straight away. But on that occasion, Law manages to get the offload in Leatherborough, who promoted the ball out wider to the left side, and they're unlucky there because if that ball had stuck, they had a 3v1 there overlap, and it could have been try time for the Cougars. Opportunity now for the Cougars through Richie Owen out to Barnett.
Oh, here comes Barnett with a chance on this right-hand side, but the Featherstone defence was across quickly enough to make sure he wasn't going to get through. So Cosgrove at dummy half. It's taken on by Leatherborough, who helps it along its way again here. Oh, the offload there is a tricky one, but Law's taking it on, and he's striding through with a real purpose. Eventually dragged to the ground, but less than 10 metres away. Keighley now looking on that left-hand side. Jones tries to promote it through. Yep. They've got to try back. They've got to try back through Ben Sagar, who finally is in. And Keighley's spirits lifted immeasurably, no doubt, by the fact that they have finally breached this Featherstone line. And Featherstone will not keep them to 0 tonight.
No, they won't. And again, that's just off the back of some second phase play. And we just saw the play earlier with Law offloading, and they almost created a chance on the left if it wasn't for the Featherstone defender knocking it down. And on that set of 6 there, Johnny Walker turns in the tackle, offloads to Scott Law, I think, and then he almost was looking for someone. He got a quick play of the ball, and because of that, the Featherstone defensive line just didn't adjust quick enough on that short side. A great vision from the halfback to see that, and he gets a nice face pass out there to Sagar, who gets on the outside of his defender and scores in the corner there. Nice try there from the Cougars.
And a kick to come here from close to that touchline to try and narrow this gap by another couple if they can. It's a toughie, isn't it? How well does he strike this? How well does he strike that? Just not quite well enough. The flags have stayed down. No controversy this week about whether kicks have gone over or not. Neither of you two were with us last week, were you? It's a lot of controversy at Batley in Halifax, where the conversions, one that was given as a miss, they reckon had gone over, and one that went over, they reckon had missed. But anyway, it all leveled up in the end. This is the try from Sagar.
Yeah, bad read from Andy Kane there. He's come up and taken no one. I think he thought big Charlie Martin was going to get the ball and come up into just empty space. They're the things Darryl Powell spoke about before the game, how they've, like the opposition teams, when they do get so far in front, start to play a little bit, and that's what Keighley have done. They've started to get some offloads in contact and play a little bit, and that's where he wants his defenders to be a lot smarter, and they're working on those defensive things where they're scoring the points. So he won't be happy about that either.
March, the man at dummy half here, Paul March. Working this blind side to Richie Barnett. 4 tackles gone. They've only got a couple to go here. They're still very much pinned deep inside their own half, so they're going to kick relatively early, but it's out on the full. Well, they went for the gamble. There was a real tight angle.
Well, it's just been the story, hasn't it, for the Cougars this evening? You know, they've been really patchy. You know, I call it a patchy performance from them. You know, they've shown a couple of good signs, but again, you know, they've just let themselves down, you know, with a couple of poor decisions and a couple of poor executions of skill. And on that occasion, it was a poor execution of kick from Scott Leatherbarrow.
So Featherstone looking to again here. Kane, who's perhaps played much more of this game than he might have thought at the beginning of the evening, having started on the bench. We thought he was going to be an interchange for this man who stands at dummy half here, Andy Ellis, but because of the injury to Kyle Briggs, Natalie was telling us about, might be a bone injury. He's been on an awful lot longer.
So has Ellis too, Dave, hasn't he? You know, he's likely that he's going to play the full 80 minutes tonight now with no other hooker as a backup, and with you know, with that injury, there's another penalty there from the keeper's side. But with that injury to the loose Briggs, it's likely that Ellis will have to stay out there.
Yeah. Here is Kane. Going to draw them on. Ellis again involved here. You can see just to his left is Bostock. It's put behind the line to Finn. Finn with a short flat one. It's another one. It's another one. It's simply walking day here as far as Featherstone are concerned. They're finding so many holes, and it's for the second time tonight James Lockwood in the second half.
And that's exactly the same play as the previous try that Lockwood scored. Just a ball from Ellis out to Finn. He's had plenty of numbers there. He's just picked Lockwood out, and he's just gone straight through the middle.
They've exploited that weakness, haven't they? They've picked out Leatherbarrow again. They've put Lockwood on him. You know, like you said, Woodsy, you know, the try earlier was again an early ball from Finn to Lockwood, getting at the little man, got over him. And that time again was the same. You know, Ellis bounces out, hits out the back to Finn, early face pass to Lockwood, running at pace with a lot of punch, a lot of aggression in his carry. And like you said, doesn't really get a hand laid on him. And powers over the fullback for a try, just to the left-hand side of the uprights. So,
and then you look at this now, they've just brought Crossley and Bostock off, the two big men, and who's gone back on? Anthony England and Matt James. So, you know, it's just strike after strike after strike. So you really have to be on your mettle when you play against the Featherstone side, and the little penalties that they're giving away, and coming up with that kick out on the full on last tackle inside your 40, they're the things you can't afford to do.
Well, Finn's just converted for the 4th time tonight. 4 out of 7 tries. Featherstone have scored 36 points to 4. There's a try right now. And there's a Woodman on that empty stand. That's the old railway ground, the old railway stand at the back of those sticks, just going back on to collect that ball. They are building a new stand there. They've got it all laid out. It's like a big Meccano kit behind the stand we're sitting in at the moment. And they're hoping to have it built at some stage this season to add to the facilities here. 36 points to 4. Featherstone leading. We've still got, what, 28 minutes left to play, just under half an hour left to play. This could still be a very big scoreline here tonight.
Yeah, it could be. You know, and that's the danger. Keighley don't want to let it run away, you know, but they obviously haven't been happy with Leatherbarrow. They've just replaced him and put Feather back on, and he looks like he's going to play in the halves now, and with Mark staying in the middle of the field.
Well, they are averaging 40 points a game so far this season, just under. Featherstone Rovers, I think it's 199 points from the 5 games they've played so far. And you suspect they might go over that average here tonight. Here's Finn with another kick. It finds itself bouncing betwixt and between the fullback and the winger. It is going to be picked up by Paul White eventually, who manages to run it out to the 10-metre line, but he knew there would be defenders there in numbers.
That's a tremendous chase, but look at the time. Once again, Finn's got on the ball to get that kick away. He had plenty of time. He could pick his space. He found grass in between the two players, and then a tremendous chase there from the Featherstone team.
He's going to have a dabble from fullback. Not making too much of an impression on that occasion. So wide they bring it again. Decent forward carry by Elliot Cosgrove. Signed on loan from Dewsbury, by the way, just for a month. Looking to grasp his chance if he can. He's lost his boot. Here's Sharif, Jody Sharif, the Jamaican internationals. 4 of 5 Jamaican internationals in this Keighley squad. It's March with a decent kick from dummy half. making Hepworth do a little bit of work, and Hepworth wants it to roll, and eventually it does. A bit of relief from him. It was just one roll, literally one roll too much, wasn't it, from Keighley's point of view. And Hepworth gets the tap on the 20 instead of being caught embarrassingly inside his own in-goal area. 26 to go. Featherstone on their way to cementing their place at the top of the tree. Early days, David Woods, and you won't have seen all the teams in this division so far, but are they the market leaders this year again? Featherstone, that's a good ball. They want to get on with it as well. Up to his feet gets Helliwell. I'll let you answer that in just a second, because Featherstone looking to make progress again here. Hepworth with a huge ball back to Finn. Finn again with a lot of time to decide what he's going to do. He's going to kick it to that right-hand side. Hodgson, well, it's a bounce that lands it right in his hands, and Hodgson skidding in. Now he's on a hat-trick, of course, having scored a couple of times already tonight. Down the blind side, it's second with Kane. Kane throws it out wide. It's Hardman who tries to force it. Picked up by Kane, and Kane is over.
Little man.
And the referee points the finger. Good work by Hardman. He knew he'd been defended, so just rolled it behind him. And Kane just scuttled in, picks it up, and now he's going to brace for the night. And it's 40 points to 4.
Let's talk about that play of football, that passage of play there. That whole set was fantastic to watch. Johnny Hepworth jumps down the short side on the left, throws a great face pass to put Hodgson away. You know what I mean? Then they shift the ball from left to right, you know, get the width on the pass. You know, Finn sees the kick, the defensive line short, puts a kick into the corner. That's picked up by Hodgson, which is fantastic. And then they jump down the short side through Kane. Face pass. Looks like he's going to be tackled. I'm not sure who the man was, but somehow he just lays it out the back again. Kane picks it up and scores in the corner. But that whole passage of play, what do you think, boys, Dave?
Well, it started from the kick, didn't it, from Finn? He had plenty of time again, and he just put the ball across field. It bounced up straight into the winger Hodgson's arms, and he did a good job to carry it forward. It's their night, isn't it? Everything's going their way. The bounce of the ball's going their way.
I've got to admit, boys, I love seeing good football. And I thought we saw some great rugby league there in that set of 6. On the left side, when Hepworth throws a cut-out pass to Saxon and put him away, then Finn having the vision to see the Keighley line was in tight, put the kick in the corner. They always score off that play. And they get a quick play of the ball. They jump short side through Kane, and somehow, I don't know how he gets that ball out the back door with 3 Keighley defenders on him, but he manages to do so, and Kane scores in the corner. As Finn now adds stairs. It's hit the post again.
Lucky he isn't kicking them tonight.
Well, he could patent a circus act with this, couldn't he? You should get extra points for hitting the post. If you can hit the post, you should get extra points, because he's hit them twice tonight.
There's the kick there from Finn. Look at this. Kicks across, bounces straight up. He grabs it with his left hand and behind his back.
Good pick
plays
up
the
from
ball.
Hodgson too.
Very good. Smart play from Andy Kane. Jumps out of dummy half.
It's Hardman.
But look, he just lays it back like a rugby union play. Very good play there.
That was good footy, boys.
Well, while we're watching that, the ball switched down the other end, and Featherstone have actually knocked on from the restart, so they've given Keighley head and feed here. So a little bit of a respite allowed for the Keighley side, because they'll get, all things being equal, 6 tackles inside their opponent's half. March is the first man here who waits, and Owen just showing it, trying to find a way through, showing some of his Super League class if he can, on a night when it's very much a losing side he's on here at the moment. Feather at dummy half again. Short pass for Rawling to drive it in.
Dropped it.
Lost it. So they will not get 6 tackles to hammer at that Featherstone line. Instead, it'll be Featherstone's head and feed here, 10 metres from their own line. So back to that question, Dave Woods. Featherstone, are they the market leaders in the championship this year?
I think they are. I think my thing on Featherstone is that they're very, very good till they get to the finals, and then they really struggle if a team turns up on the day and puts them under some pressure. They've got quality right across the park. They've got great infrastructure off the park. They've got some good people behind the scenes. But, you know, you can't play great footy every week. Now, teams need to take advantage when they are coming up with knock-ons. Teams like Sheffield can compete with them at the best level. And in the big games, Batley, Halifax on their day. But they certainly are probably the best team in the league at the moment.
Well, we saw Halifax do a job on them, didn't we, last year in the Northern Rail final. And Sheffield coming up big in the final of the championship. Well, they've got what they're giving here. What's he given here? Is this going to be a penalty? I think it is, isn't it?
It's a bit of a facial there, wasn't it? Looking at the old school, back in the old school days, eh? A bit of a facial. Johnny Walker, was it?
He's the man who's been called out.
Bit of grapple, bit of a facial there. And
so penalty for Featherstone, which Finn will boot out of play. And Rovers with a tap restart, less than 40 metres away from their opponent's line again. It looks as though they're in the mood for more scores here tonight. And Spears, the man who's driven it in the original circumstances. Finn drops it back on the inside. Matt James now taking 3 defenders to pull him down. But they've made the first 20 metres in only 2 tackles. They've got 4 to go to cover this last 20 metres. Oh, and they've dropped it. Hepworth appearing at back as the full-back, and it's picked up by Richie Barnett.
And that's smart play from Finn there. The last 2 plays they've done exactly the same thing, and he's picked Lockwood out. That time they've gone out the back to Hepworth, and if he takes that ball, he gets on the outside, and then they've got a 2-on-1. And you know, and this is the thing about Featherstone. They're smart about how they play. They do all the little things right. They're confidence in their defence, that if they do come up with some errors, that they can defend it. But they're just smart with the way they do things.
So Keighley looking as though they're on the way to their 6th defeat of the season. And, you know, coming into this game, one bookmaker, Gareth Walker was telling us beforehand, one bookmaker had Featherstone at 250 to 1 on favourites to win here tonight. Which, when you think, you know, this is a team, Keighley finished 6th last year. I know they've lost a few players, but the team that finished 6th was dragged out of play.
Yeah, he called held. I'm sure he called held. And so he's got him for passing the ball after held, so he'll give him the ball to play it.
But it's an extraordinary reflection, that, isn't it, on the way they've started the season so far, Keighley?
It is, but, you know, they haven't been playing well this year, Keighley, so their mods probably justify how good Featherstone are, or how good they've been playing. And you know, it's, like I said at the start, it is very hard to replace experience and players of the calibre that they lost.
20 minutes left to play. Featherstone coming up the hill here, but downhill in terms of the way this game has gone for them. 40 points to 4, they lead. Finn's the man at dummy half here. They're hungry for more points as well. If not on the field, and I'm sure they are on the field, but certainly in the stands and terraces, bellowing their men on as Anthony England with a big drive forward. Just short of the 30. Picked up by Ellis. This is James. Another couple of yards gained. What's he given here? Hold down, second attempt.
No,
he's not played the ball.
He's not played the ball. I think he's just put it through the legs, I think he said, is he? But wouldn't that be a penalty?
Yeah, it must have dropped it. Dropped it. So it's the head and feet at the scrum.
He hasn't got a foot on it, so
yeah, but that
should be a penalty, isn't it?
That's every second play the ball. Yeah. You go through and watch all the play the balls, and that's every second play the ball. I asked Ian Smith this question the other week. I said, have a look at them play the balls in the game we were in, and every second one was like that. You know, I don't know. Is that what he's got him for? Rolling it between his legs?
Yeah, clearly. But I thought that was a penalty, though.
Well, it's a penalty if you've not played it. It's a penalty. So he's obviously got him for knocking on. That's the decision that was taken.
Right.
Well, March helping it on here. To Rawling. Oh, they've done well here. Now it's a chance for Owen, but he's going to be smothered a couple of yards away. So James Feather, and Owen looks as though he's hurt himself. Feather now picks up, rolls it back to March again. March handing it on. The big man Schickel trying to make an impact, but Featherstone's defence again is making sure they don't get any advantage here. They look to move it left. Oh, Jones with a little step on the inside and a kick towards that left-hand side. They're queuing up over there. They're queuing up, and surely Paul White has got in for another try. Yes, he has. Clever work by Jones with a little step, and then the kick behind them, and it was a question of who got there first, and it was White who did. Another try here for Keighley.
Good try there from the Cougars again. Good vision from Danny Jones. Steps off the left foot. Saw that the winger had come up and joined the defensive line and was up with the rest of the players. And obviously that's how he was able to get the kick in behind him, and a good chase and a good finish from Paul White. But again, you know, great defence from Featherstone on their goal line. You know, they got up hard off their line on the edge and on the fringes there, and they got up and worked together. But the thing is, Harman, he's got to make that tackle. You know, they're going to get up that hard and push hard all the way and work together as a unit. Harman's got to make that tackle there. He fails to do so. It allows Jones then obviously to get on his inside, and then it creates some space on the outside through the line there for Keighley to get in behind the Featherstone defensive line and get the try in the corner there, because they've got a very aggressive defensive style of Featherstone. They like to get hard off their line. They like to work together. and that time it was exploited because they didn't make the tackle.
So Left-footed Jones is taking over the kicking duties here, and he has hit it absolutely plumb. So first kick of the night, and he's put it in, and it's 40 points to 10. Doesn't really change the dynamics of the game, does it? But if you're a Keighley fan, at least it gives you something to smile about here.
Yeah, it does. Well, the players there, Whitey, he got through. He was standing waiting for the ball to bounce up into his arms, wasn't it? You know, but a smart play. They have looked a lot better with March on the field, I must say, you know, directing them around a little bit. But again, they've played with a couple of little second phase plays, and they look a lot better when they do that rather than just try and carry the ball forward, one out.
Well, I think it's second half score at the moment. It'd be 14-10, wouldn't it? Is that right?
Well, you're asking me for the math, but you would, yes. 14 points to 10, yes. Which ain't bad, is it?
No, it's, you know, something to build on anyway. But then again, there's still 16 minutes to go.
The original concept, we talked about the bonus point, the original concept was to give you 2 points if you won the first half, 2 points if you won the second half, and 2 points if you won the game. So 6 points was available. That was the original working concept, wasn't it? So,
Okay.
and we got that role, and Keighley had a chance again.
Who's going to keep us accountable for that?
I don't know. Hendo, he's good at maths.
You do the math, boys. Anyway, again, we see Keighley, another mistake, and, you know, too often tonight, boys, hasn't this been the case for them? You know, they do some good work, and then it gets undone with some poor work again. Execution and skill on that occasion.
They're chasing there. They're chasing, trying to go wide and catch them out because Featherstone's defence is so tight. But you've got to execute it professionally if you're going to do something like that to make sure that it comes off.
Good tackle, that.
I think it was the shoulder of Owen, wasn't it, that got in there to make sure that that tackle was as solid as it was. And here comes England driving it forward. It's been a night for the big men, hasn't it? Drop forwards plundering through from that kind of range, but not England, not on this occasion. Ellis skimming it back to Finn, who steps back on the inside again. Well read in defence by Scott Law. Came out to grab a hold of him, put him down. So Ellis stands and waits again. Left it goes to Finn once more. Finn puts it back to Kane. Oh, and it was a big shoulder hit. Sure if that might have been a shoulder charge from Cosgrove. But anyway, allowed to play on. Featherstone getting closer again. And now they find themselves only 5 yards away. Ellis, oh, and a little dummy by him, and he tried to scoot through. And those two Keighley defenders kept smart and kept alive and dragging him down just short. This is the last now. So Featherstone looking wide again. Finn hands it on. Through the hands it goes. And it will be another try down that right-hand side. Well, the arms are being raised here, asking the question, but the try has been given.
The try's been given there, and again, just sheer weight of numbers on that right side for Featherstone. You know, I thought Ellis should have promoted the football on the play before. I didn't think it was around the middle because the Keighley players were very, very tight around that middle area. The space was always on this right-hand side. You know, and again, you know, they had enough time to adjust here, the Keighley side, but they did because, you know, I think it was Schickel that had a really good squeeze, a really good unload there, so they had plenty of time to adjust their defensive line, but they didn't react quick enough. They didn't get their numbers right. They didn't get the spacing right, and Featherstone just had the weight of numbers over there on that right side, and again, just promoted the football through their hands and created a very, very simple try.
Well, you might have heard the PA man saying it was Ian Hartman, but it was Tim Spears who scored that,
Tim Spears. But it was great work from Finn. Real quick hands. Finn to Hepworth, and then equally quick out to Spears, and that was just good execution of skill there, and again a well-worked try.
It's very murky in that far corner. I mean, we said this about at Barrow last week. Watching on the telly, you don't get a true indication of how murky it is, but it is here again. Featherstone, very murky, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It was like that all around the area here. I don't know whether it was the fog or the smoke or just the Featherstone scenery.
Careful. Finn with the kick. 46 points to 10. 36 difference in the scorelines again, and Spears, welcome back. It's been a long time between drinks for Tim Spears, hasn't it?
It has. He played a 20s game the other week and come through that all right, and you know, he's got his shot tonight, and he's done all right. He's played pretty well.
We were talking about him last year with Darryl Powell, and he said he's the brick with eyes. Kick off straight out, second time tonight that's happened. Penalty back on the halfway line. Danny Jones this time. Nicely read, he knew his position all the way there, didn't he? Johnny Hepworth. 12 to go. Featherstone 46, Keighley 10. Long since over as a contest. Question of how many more can Featherstone score, or can Keighley produce some real character in what's remaining of this game? It's taken in by James. Held, shouts the referee. And then it's been lost. The ref decides by James, who is in amongst all of that. So head and feet goes Keighley's way.
If I'm being honest, I think he could have possibly awarded a penalty there. He called held, and then it was quite a 1 or 2 seconds after before they put him down to the floor, didn't they? So possibly could have been a penalty to Featherstone there, but he does lose possession of the football when he hits the ground. But anyhow, it's the way it goes.
Here's Owen. Little skipping, scampering run by him, but Featherstone defenders mopping him up without any true problems. It's Schickel, Andy Schickel, driving it in once again. Here's Feather, waits at acting half, collects now. It's to promote those big fellas once more through the hands of Walker, amongst others on that left-hand side. James Feather, long time Keighley stalwart, of course, James Feather. He's in his testimonial here this year. What a hit that was.
What a shot there on the right edge. Who was that?
Was that Kane?
Yeah, little Kane. And who was that over the top? Lockwood, was it? Oh, well, Spears. Outstanding.
I think it was Kane who got the real telling shoulder on him, wasn't it? But anyway.
I think it was England over the top, actually.
Here's Schickel. We'll have a look at that again. We'll have a look at that again.
Have a look at this. I love it. Boom. Big England over the top.
Good technique,
Great technique.
Good technique.
Andy Kane hitting underneath the ball, and Big England putting his weight over the top. Sit down.
You know, a lot of people, I mean, keep going on about this, a lot of people decrying the loss of the shoulder charge, but when you see tackling with that technique, who needs a shoulder charge? The game's got impact.
That's what we said the other week. It's not something you coach. Every now and again someone will try it, and then it comes off, Sometimes 9 out of 10 it doesn't come off. But tackling like that, Andy Kane, great technique. Big shot over the top from England. Very well done.
Here we go again. Whoosh. Great, I love good contact.
Penalty for Keighley, meantime, for a ball steal in the tackles. So here they are, 20 metres away from their opponent's line. 46-10. They trail at the moment and into the final 10 minutes. Here's Feather. The big man queuing up on his left-hand side. First of those to have a go is Jody Sharif. He's gobbled up by 2 eager defenders and put down on the floor. So Feather stands and waits again. Right-hand side to March. March with a short flat pass. I think it was slipping through the arms of Pursglove. He did well to hold on in the end. So they'll try again. Owen over the top. Good pass. Richie Barnett.
Forward
pass. Well, what a blow that is for Keighley.
It's unlucky, that, isn't it? I mean, good, it would have been a great try if it was, mate, because it was a 3v3 on the short side, and I think the winger may have just came in a little bit. Tommy Saxton jams in, doesn't he?
Tight, that, isn't it?
Jeez, I've seen worse ones for like that than not called.
Yeah, poor
I think the touch lad just called that one, so good on him for having the courage to call it.
So head and feed Fev. 10 metres from their own line. A little bit of work to do here to get themselves downfield. There's a high shot on Hardman, and the referee sees it as such. So that hard job of getting downfield is just made a little bit easier because they have a penalty and a chance to kick for touch. Bad technique, wasn't it? As good as the early tackle was, good technique.
Paul technique, that, yeah. Definitely just stretching, reaching out, not getting in tight.
Finn puts it away. That restart is here. It's another penalty. Ball stolen from the tackle by Jody Sharif. At least he's the man who came up with the ball in his hands. And you might have caught in the background that Andy Ellis has finally gone off with 8 minutes left to play. Bostock, the man's come on, so it's not exactly like for like.
Been replaced by a prop, so.
But it just shows that he's perhaps running out of gas.
I'd say they're probably. Well, Bussy's gone into dummy half there. Bussy's a player. I had him a few years ago in an England squad, and he's a very versatile player. Can play in the halves, can play at loose, back row, out in the centres. So I'd say Darryl Powell will probably throw in there to do a bit of work around the middle of the field.
Nominally a second rower tonight, wasn't he, when he was selected? But what is he? I mean, you say about that versatility. If you have to pin him down, what is he?
That's the danger of not having an out-and-out position. He can play anywhere, and he can do a role in all of them, and that sometimes is a bit of a problem for players that are like that are very versatile. They don't have a set role, and you just sort of go from place to place.
Yeah, 1 or 2 Super League clubs have been looking at him, haven't they? But He's signed a new 2-year contract. There's a knock-on. So it's just getting a little scrappy here now, isn't it, with 6.5 minutes left to play.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he knocks this on, actually. There's a hand there from Feather, very cheeky. He gets away with it.
You mentioned Feather a little while ago there, Dave, you know, being the long servant there. And I must say, Jermaine Ray, who has been with Keighley for quite some time, gave it away the other week. And I'm sure he's a player that'll be vastly missed from this Keighley side, because he'd normally come on for Feather, and the momentum he gives that Keighley side, you know, he's going to be a great loss to the Keighley club. But he's given it away with I think a knee injury or a leg injury or something, and had to retire. But Feather, he's been outstanding for Keighley for a number of years, and you know, I'm sure that Ray will be missed, not being able to replace him.
Well, Feather's a bricklayer from Ingro as well, isn't he? So he's Keighley lad through and through. Here's Feather. He's going to have a little go here from dummy half. Scampers another couple of yards. So Keighley looking to go down with their heads up if they can here. Finish this game as high as possible, because it has been a tough night here for them so far. Seagull put down. Feather again at dummy half, throwing it out left, trying to find a way through here. It's lifted in the air by Walker, put backwards. Feather tries to take a kick at that. The ball's on the ground. It's still on the ground. Well, the ball's disappeared, and they're not bothered. They'll have a little go at each other.
I wonder who's involved here.
I bet your Marchie's in there.
You picked it a mile away there, Woodsy.
Guilty until proven innocent.
There's only one bloke that'll be in there, mate. The little terrier, Paul March.
There he is.
There he is, his shirt's off. Look, straight in.
He was having a go. There was a knock-on first of all. And then here we go.
Nothing in it. There's handbags there, but it'll be a scrum feed to Featherstone. I'd say. I don't think he'll penalise anyone, will he? I don't think there's a punch being thrown.
There's been a punch. No.
There's a bit of push and shove.
There just would have been a little bit of banter there, I think. You know, Marchie comes in over the top. I'm sure he's probably had a few words to Lockwood on the floor there, and that's been about it, really.
Put it on report.
Danny Jones on report, so they'll have a look at that.
No, I think he's just put the incident. I think Danny Jones will be out as captain, wouldn't he? And Finn out as captain.
Well, he actually did signal a swinging arm here, so possibly there has been. I think this here, yeah, but that's. I don't think there's anything in that, to be honest.
Well, it all settles down finally, and so we can get back on with the game. Well, what's left of it? 5 minutes left to play here.
Let's see what happens off this tap, eh?
Who runs at who?
And just to remind you once again of that goal.
And it's they're going to run at Paul March, who's left standing as he tries to grab a hold. And Halliwell's taken it to within 30 metres. That's a very good tap by him. On by Hepworth now. Hepworth spins it out to this left-hand side. Tommy Saxton, who was labouring a little with an injury earlier on.
I think he's still got it. I think he's struggling with that leg, but I think he's had to stay out there with no outside backs out there.
Here's England, Anthony England. Driving it forward. Finn on this left-hand side, throws it back. They're keeping it alive. They're doing well. Here comes Hepworth again.
Good defence from Keighley on that right edge there.
Picked up by Hussey from dummy half. It's moved to that right-hand side, trying to keep it alive again. But he's going to be held up less than 20 away. There's only one tackle left in this set. So here comes the ball out wide. They're trying to force it. I think it was Kane's pass that sprung off the shoulder. And it goes to ground off a grinning Ian Hartman. And it's out of play. Or at least a handover, because that was a 6 tackle. Just putting their heads together here to think about the man of the match. And David Woods and Andrew Henderson having a little bit of a deliberation. Seems to be quite a bit of debate going on between those two, which is good to see as to who should get the man of the match here tonight. They'll tell me what the decision is very shortly, as the ball is moved back to the middle. Ball's moved back to the middle. Keighley trying to bring it forward. Well, it's going to be a penalty here. Kicked out of play by Danny Jones. Tap restart. Keighley just over 20 metres away. Can they go down with their heads held high here? 3 minutes to go. You know what I mean. 3 minutes to go. Looking for a bit of late glory if they can. March, the coach, one of those trying to make things happen. Segar spins to the ground. Here comes March at dummy half again. Feathers just to his left-hand side. March pops it up. I think it's Schickel, this, isn't it, who's going to smash it forward. Feather. Slow play the ball, very slow play the ball. It's given Featherstone the chance to regroup here, but Feather throws it left. March, oncoming defence. Can't get away. Can't get away. He doesn't like it, does he, Paul March? A little bit of a push and a shove. But he has a look up, but it's a big fella, Anthony England. And he knows it was fair as go. March has lost his shirt, wants to have another go. Penalty's given, and then the ball is slammed to the ground by Feather, and Feather is off. Feather is shown. Is it a yellow card? I'm not sure quite. It's a red card. Red card for James Feather.
No, it's March. It's March.
Well, it was Feather who'd been shown the red card for the descent, but it is March. You're right, it is.
It must be for descent, though, because all he's done is pulled the leg of the player, Anthony England. He didn't like the tackle, and then he's pulled the leg of him and given the penalty. Well, I'd say it must be for descent. He must have said something to the referee.
Well, there's a tackle. A little bit of grabbing around. The referee...
I think a bit of an elbow in the face as well from England, but I think that's probably England's way of it. He probably feels from the play before when March came in over the top of Lockwood, didn't he? And was obviously having a few words in that collision, and I think England was trying to give him a little bit of...
Well, he's putting the yellow shirt on here. He can't stand there. He's got to go inside.
Well, as a coach, is he given special dispensation?
Well, no, he can't be. He's been sent from the field. He's got to leave the field. He's got to go into the change rooms. He can't stand there.
Well, he's remaining there for the moment, but Keighley, his last 90 seconds down to 12 men. Featherstone looking to make the most of it. Here it's kept alive. It's Helliwell again, trying to make the break here. Helliwell flying away, eventually dragged down. Here comes to play the ball. Bussey's the man up there. Finn now throws it wide. They've got numbers on that right-hand side. They come back down the middle. Back down the middle. It's charged in by James.
Had to go to the outside there, Dave.
There were 2 or 3, weren't there, on the overlap? Kane trying to work his way over. He's in. He's in, and I think that's a hat-trick, isn't it?
I believe so.
Well, he wasn't expecting to play as much of a role as he has tonight, but an apt time for you to reveal your man of the match here tonight, David Woods.
Yeah, certainly is, and I think it justifies who we picked. We picked Andy Kane, but some great efforts from Tim Spears. The front row, all 4 front rowers. Andy Ellis, I thought was very good, but I think Andy Kane, he's just, since he came on from his very first touch where he got that first try, the neat little kick in for another try, he's created them for other players, he scored them himself. The big contact that he did over on the right-hand side there, I think he's well deserved of the Man of the Match award tonight.
So well done to Andy Kane, our Kingston Press Man of the Match tonight. It's a whole stack of cider to take home with him as well. A hat-trick of tries, a winning night. Liam Finn with the kick, which will be the final kick of the night, the hooter having already sounded. 50 points having been reached. It now becomes 52 as Finn puts it between the sticks, and confirmation, Andy Kane, the man of the match tonight, the Kingston Press player of the game. His hat-trick of tries in amongst a plethora of scores from Featherstone this evening. 52 points to 10. It has finished. Well, a shake of hands from both sets of players. Keighley, having finished with 12 players, was sending off of their coach Paul March. 52 points to 10. It has finished here tonight. We're going to be hearing from Andy Kane, I think, in just a moment's time as the man of the match. Natalie Quirk is ready to have a word with him in just a few moments' time, but full marks to Featherstone, who've put up a really efficient show for the most part tonight. Some spirit and character thrown by Keighley at times, but in the end it's Featherstone by a distance who retain their 100% start to the season. Right, let's hear from the man of the match. Andy Kane is speaking now with Natalie.
Andy, congratulations. Another impressive performance from Featherstone. Yeah, it was a good performance. You know, we knew Keighley were going to come to us. They've had, I think, 5 losses now, so you know they're always going to be digging deep, and you know at times they made it hard for us, but you know in the end we come out on top.
Another great start to a campaign.
Yeah, we haven't lost a game yet, which is you know obviously what we're trying to do. You know, with some tough teams, especially when we're playing away from home. But you know, down here it's a fortress, and we definitely don't want to lose any games here.
And 3 tries for you, but you didn't have much time to think about your first one, did you?
No, obviously come on a little bit earlier than I thought I was going to be, but hopefully Kyle's injury's not too bad and he'll be all right next week. But yeah, 3 tries and you're always going to be happy with that.
We are our Kingston Press man of the match. Enjoy your cider tonight.
All right, thanks a lot, will do.
So well done to Featherstone. They've scored loads of tries tonight. We'll be looking back at some of them. 52 points to 10. They have beaten Keighley here, and we're back in just a break.